All right, greetings. We're going live. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. The topic of this video is going to be independent media platforms plus Q&A. By the way, I wanted to something like that. I didn't really remember in the title, but this video in particular, I wanted to go over independent media platforms, web hosting websites that are like social media platforms to subscribe to. I put a description in the description box. If you're wondering the purpose, the reason why I'm doing this video, I think it's more important than ever. And I wanted to relay this message to my subscribers. With that being said, first, as usual, before we get started, I'd like to give a disclaimer. This video is going to be for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her own homework and research into the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. Any event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource channel is not liable or responsible for anyone's misuse of the information. Please keep in mind everyone is responsible for their own affairs. With that being said, all rights are reserved. I want to thank you all for following me, all my subscribers, the newbies, people out there who continue to follow Dorsey's Resource. I appreciate you very much. And the allies I have out there, those that have shared my videos, my content, appreciate you as well. Big shout out to Currency 365, as well as others that I have spoken with privately that call or check on me from time to time. Appreciate you. So with that said, I wanted to go over, I'm not sure how long this video is going to be. In the title, something in the title, I can't remember exactly. I wanted to direct you guys or let my subscribers know there are other alternative media websites that don't censor that I think is very detrimental at this time. I think it's important that you get on these other platforms that don't really censor. If they do, they censor very lightly. It's not egregious violations of freedom of speech that these big mainstream, big tech giants, major brands like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, as well as others have been involved in, Apple as well, Amazon, and egregious forms of violations of freedom of speech, as well as antitrust laws, forming monopolies to silence competition in an egregious fashion. And I want to say this video is also nonpartisan. No matter what your political leanings are, these other web hosting platforms I'm going to go over, they might have a certain political ideology. However, they're open to each side. One thing these brands have mentioned in the past is they're open to both sides of the aisle, the political aisle of political discourse, no matter what your leanings are. And even I say this is important if you're an influencer or content creator that has a large following, or you're looking into branding, marketing yourself. The reason it's detrimental down the road, for example, there's a site, for example, it has a tendency, it's more conservative leaning, but it has liberals over there, as well as people from all different backgrounds, and they are getting more attention than the algorithms in some instances that YouTube is not allowing to be shown in the search results. Because I know I've had some of you subscribers, thankfully, appreciate you all, that have come to me privately in my previous email, where over here I've been shadow banned before. If you guys look at my older videos, like the videos that I used to do a lot years ago on the Iraqi dinar, many of those videos I had thousands of views. I had thousands of views on videos I did on the TDA accounts. And what's happened the past few years is YouTube has increased their shadow banning and their weaponization. In case you're wondering the validity behind the information I'm going over, by the way, I like to provide someone you can look up verbally to give you guys some homework. I may be able to type it in the description box, but I'm reading from some notes right now. In case you're wondering, there's a whistleblower that came out some years ago that used to work for Google. This is where the evidence is. In case you're wondering, this is where I'm very big on credibility. So I want you all to know, just on a side note, the authenticity and the accuracy of the information that I go over on this channel. I want you guys to know it's highly accurate. If you take your due diligence, your time, and do the research, you'll find out what I'm going over is highly accurate and it's important. I'm also trying to warn you, and it's like I said, it's very important no matter what your political leanings are. And one of the main reasons I'm doing this video, well, I will get to that later, but on my other channel, which was like my backup channel, I did a video. I could have uploaded it over here about Kyrie Irving, what my thoughts were. It was mostly about the vaccine, but I was giving you guys an update about the previous video that I did about the black card, my experience. And it kind of went into the direction where I talked a lot about the vaccine, what my thoughts were, and about the situation with Kyrie Irving. And I woke up the other day and found out I got a message in my email that YouTube had removed the video from that channel and said that it was just a warning. That channel separate from this channel, and it said it was the first time. But I see you can't even, this is, and these are violations of freedom of speech. So I wanted to share this with the audience why this is important, and I'm going to get ready to go over the different web hosting platforms you can join. But first, as I was going over previously, this is important. There's a whistleblower named Zach Voorhees, and some of these other platforms I'm about to go over, you can actually look up. If you're a researcher, you can type in the search results. If you join these platforms, it's important. Create a username, a password, just like you would do any standard, website, just like you would do for the Facebooks, the Twitters of the world. These other platforms I'm going to go over, they are growing exponentially. Trust me in this, they are growing, and it has helped get the word out for people that are trying to genuinely warn you. I'm not making this up, but this is very, very important. Like I said, no matter what your political leanings are, it's important that you stay informed, because many of the mainstream outlets such as MSNBC, CNN, they're pushing propaganda, by the way. And in case you're wondering, what is the definition of propaganda, you can look up. It says it's a noun where information is especially of a biased or misleading nature used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. Let me say that again. CNN, some call the criminal news network, MSNBC, have been engaged in major propaganda, as well as local media, like where I'm at in Detroit. I've caught WDIV Channel 4 lying about the election fraud that took place. For example, the city clerk Janice Winfrey was subpoenaed. There was an article I saw on their website separate from their YouTube channel that I follow. I never got found out about the updates because there's been a massive cover up. So if you subscribe to these other platforms I'm getting ready to go over, you will get the legitimate information from different perspectives, no matter what side you're on. Now, I'm not a registered voter. I canceled my voter registration back in 2004. I have my own reasons. I've explained that. Many of you are already aware. If you want to know about that separately, I could probably do a separate video. Just let me know in the chat section or comment after the video if you guys are interested or want to know. I did a video on my backup channel, by the way. If you want to check that video out, it's actually, I believe, the first video that I uploaded over there. I actually explained it. It was untitled, but I explained the reasons. But to be fair, this shows proof I'm nonpartisan. I don't have any political affiliations or any ties to the Democratic Party or to the Republican Party. I am for the rule of law, of God, family, the Constitution. I'm for things of that sort. I also have what some would consider a liberal side. I have things that conservatives don't agree with. I support reparations. I've discussed this with my conservative friend. He doesn't like reparations. I've even explained to him, a lot of conservatives don't believe in that. So I'm a realist. At the end of the day, I keep it real. I'm a balanced person. I'm fair. I look at both sides of the spectrum. There's things, for example, of the Me Too movement that I agree with. The things I don't want to see is it being weaponized to politically target people. That is a whole nother discussion within itself. When things and there's actually laws against that. Just like for presidents, there's supposed to be checks and balances. While you have checks and balances, and government. If you take American government in high school, if they still teach this, teach the three-body politics of government, with the three branches, why you have the executive, judicial branch, and the legislative branch, and also the Supreme Court, and things of that sort. The checks and balances that are involved, and that's a reason why that's the case. So this is why it's important. Why I'm also going over these alternate web hosting social media platforms I'm about to name. I For the sake of the time being, I was just going over. It's important that you get accurate information and you get another perspective, by the way, and just instead of just many people just fall for the propaganda from the mainstream media. And I'm not saying some things I like when they report on positive stories, but there's a lot of information that they intentionally withhold, that they don't want to share, that these independent or alternative media sites will actually explain, will show you the articles, the evidence, interview doctors, whistleblowers, because they have you thinking. They're not telling you about the massive protests that are taking place across the United States with people from all different professions that are protesting against the mandate, the thing that's going on. You have fraternal order police in Chicago. You have nurses, doctors all over. I've already saw that on the news locally, like at some at Henry Ford Hospital. You have lawsuits going on behind the scenes. I found out not only with the hospitals, but even within the military. You have soldiers, people that have spoken out, that are still, serving, that are still active duty, that are against this. I just found out from an independent alternative media source that there was a doctor in the military who was removed for treating soldiers or patients with ivermectin or drugs that would help them. And he was also giving them medical exemptions. And I just found out, I didn't see the report yet, but I just read the headline that he was fired, terminated. You see, it's things like this that the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, for example, just to be fair, they won't report on stuff like this. And this is why it's important, ladies and gentlemen, those who follow me, you understand that this information is very detrimental, what I'm going over. So without further ado, these are the alternate social media platforms. I'm going to see if I can post the links in the chat. By the way, I'm going to copy and paste, see how they go. But the first one is ban.video. That's spelled BANNED.video. Ban.video, by the way. I'm going to go to the chat section and see if they should post. And if you check after this video uploads, hopefully the chat section should upload. The next link is for parlor.com. Parlor.com is actually back up. It's been back up for a while. They have their own servers now, so you don't have to worry about like what Amazon did by removing them earlier in the year. And they were open to both political sides, by the way. You even find some content creators or people that have been censored. Some of these websites, web hosting, social media sites I'm going to go over. Some of them are similar to Facebook. Some of them are more video web hosting, where you can upload if you're a major influencer or content creator and you understand marketing and you want to redirect your traffic over to these other platforms. They would be very helpful in that, a very helpful tool. So in case something happened, you will have a backup, by the way. And then you will still, if there's certain things you feel like you can't talk about on YouTube, you will be able to talk about more freely on these other platforms without having to worry about being censored, by the way, which will fall in more in alignment with freedom of speech, by the way, and will really help you out. The next site is www.bitshoot.com. That's still www.bitshoot.com. Bitshoot.com, by the way. Very powerful information. A lot of content creators from YouTube that have been heavily censored or completely have been banned are on these other web hosting platforms from different backgrounds, different walks of life, by the way. They have very excellent reports, stories. Another one is www.brighteon.com. That's www.brighteon.com. That's spelled B as in boy, R as in Robert, I as in Icarus, G as in girl, H as in height, T as in Tom, E as in Edward, O as in operation, N as in Nancy. That's www.brighteon.com. And they've also upgraded where they have brighteon.tv, by the way. And that's, in case you're wondering, that's Mike Adams, the Health Ranger. He's like the owner or host of that platform. There's many other content creators that are over there that have information from different genres, different disciplines. By the way, that's action-packed, high-powered information. So you're just not receiving all the force-fed propaganda. By the way, these other platforms, these other independent social media web hosting platforms provide a breath of fresh air, in my humble opinion. You also have www.minds.com. www.minds.com. I skipped over one. I'm not sure if it's spelled Ibri. Ibri, I think, is connected to like a cryptocurrency. It may be lbry.com, or you can try ibr.com. I think it's library or something like that. Almost like library, but it's a couple letters missing. So you want to, it should have uploaded in the chat section. I copied and pasted. If it re-uploads after the video, you should be able to click on the link if you hopefully can see it. The next one, I went over just now, was www.minds.com. I actually have a page over there at Dorsey's Resource, by the way. And keep in mind, before you join or considering joining these different web hosting platforms, it's important to do this ahead of time. And you will, I think, you will see the benefits and see the rewards down the road. You may say, well, it takes a little bit of time. I don't have the time to do that. And mind you, it's not in any type of rush, but create a username and password when you get a chance. And down the road, you're going to thank me for it. You'll see the benefits. You'll see there's a plethora of not only influencers and content creators, but other people that are able to share their discourse and communicate more freely and openly without being censored, by the way. And many of these platforms, once again, are growing. Minds.com is growing, by the way. I think they have like a upgraded version, just like one I'm going to get to, Gab. The next one is www.rumble.com. That's spelled rumble.com. Rumble, just like you spell Rumble, Royal Rumble, just rumble.com, http://rumble.com. And if you're having trouble, another thing you can do is whatever search engine to your liking. If you use Microsoft's Bing search engine, or Yahoo or Google, some like more private search engines like DuckDuckGo, or private browsers like Brave, with typing in the names without having to punch it in the URL can help you find these sites as well. In case you're wondering if you're having trouble with how it's spelled, also keep in mind, as a researcher, you can use the web browser and just type it in the regular search. If you are not accustomed to typing in the URL, the hypertext protocol, you can type in the middle section based on whatever web browser. If you use Google Chrome, even if you go way back to Windows Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, and then whatever search engine, if it's Yahoo, Google, or DuckDuckGo, just type in rumble.com and it should pull it up, by the way. You have also gab.com, by the way. It's another one, gab.com. Big shout out to Andrew Torba, the work that he's done over there. He used to work for Silicon Valley some years ago. He saw things coming ahead of time, and he said that's one of the reasons why he created Gab, by the way, when you listen to him in the interviews, by the way. You also have another social media web hosting site that references that they don't sell your data like Facebook and Google. I know some people have been concerned about their privacy being breached, about their data being sold behind the scenes. I saw there was a content creator, Lisa Haven, was on MeWe.com. That's how I found out about MeWe.com, from Lisa Haven, by the way, who's been heavily censored on YouTube, by the way. MeWe.com also post. They protect your privacy. They don't sell your data, by the way. And these types of things are important. And there's people who do care about stuff like that. They don't want their data being sold behind the scenes and that sort, you know, and then especially and they're not getting a cut or you're not making any money off that too. It's important. Also, you have I think this may be part of the app. You want to look up telegram.org. By the way, I'm not sure if they have if it's only the app or if it's also a web hosting website, but use telegram.org. By the way, there's many people that know about this that are more private, that try to be more independent or have alternate ways to communicate. It's important. Telegram.org. There may be an app. I'm not sure if it's the same one that's affiliated, if they have a website separately, because I did see it in the list. I didn't really look that one up. I just got on Telegram, by the way. I don't really use the WhatsApp that much because I didn't know. I just found out I had a private consultation some time ago, and I found out I didn't know because my regular cell phone plan, I didn't have the ability to make calls overseas. I could make long distance calls, but I couldn't at the time make calls overseas. But fortunately, I was able to communicate using the WhatsApp. But I'm hardly ever on there, and I am on Telegram. So I'm not sure if that telegram.org, if that's a separate like version of the app that you download to your phone, by the way, because some, you know, similar to cryptocurrency wallets, you know how some are only phone based versus they don't have a desktop app. So I'm not sure if that telegram.org, if that is allows you to interface on a desktop, by the way. But all of these sites that I went over so far, all the rest of them should have a desktop interface. If you have a laptop, by the way, if you're still old school or you're still using a PC, personal computer, aka desktop, by the way. Another site I posted is censoredbyjackcom. It's a backup to band.video. You want to go censoredbyjack.com, spelled C as in cup, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, S as in Sally, O as in operation, R as in rescue, E as in Edward, D as in dead, B as in boy, Y as in Yale, J as in Jack, A as in apple, C as in cup, K as in kite. Censoredbyjack.com, by the way. Lastly, this particular site is fairly new. It's by Mike Lindell. It's frankspeech.com, http hypertext protocol /frankspeech.com. And if you're having trouble typing it in the URL, like I said, once again, you can use Yahoo or Google search engine, or if you use DuckDuckGo or whatever web browser to your liking. If you use Mozilla, Google Chrome, you should still be able to pull it up, create a username and password. And the reason I'm going over this once again, I wanted to share this with the audience that is more vital than ever to get on other web hosting platforms that don't censor your voice, because recently YouTube on my other channel removed a video I did about Kyrie Irving. I was able to save it and download it, by the way. So sometime down the road in the future, once I become more acclimated with these platforms, I am on Rumble. I don't have a lot of videos or content uploaded over there as of yet, by the way, with the type of work schedule that I have. But down the road, in case anything happens over here, you guys will have an alternate means to be able to find me, or other people that you may have had an interest in, who you're wondering what happened to, that disappeared, that were just kicked off YouTube or other platforms out there. You can find them on these other independent platforms that also, many of them have their own independent news organizations that do very excellent reporting, that show the documents, that show video evidence. For those, if you have debates with relatives, etc., about the what, you can share information from these different platforms that provide hardcore substantial evidence, video evidence, websites, whistleblowers, and doctors, etc. Whereas it's difficult more so now because YouTube is violating freedom of speech, as well as Facebook. You know, Facebook's involved in that lawsuit, and that whistleblower just came out, even though some people were saying it was fake, but they already were in a lawsuit with the Federal Trade Commission, by the way. You guys can look that up. And I just saw an article today, update that Facebook allegedly with Mark Zuckerberg is supposedly allegedly going to be rebranding their name. So I don't know. They said in the upcoming weeks they're going to update. So I don't know what is going to be the result of that. If they're going to play the shuffle game and still continue to censor, but it looks like they're categorizing and putting things in different categories. But this is the reason why, once again, I'm going over freedom of speech is very important. Many of the mainstream tech giants have not only violated freedom of speech, but also antitrust laws, forming monopolies to silence competition in an egregious fashion, by the way. Let me see if I have some more notes pulled up. And this is important because if you're an influencer or content creator and you have a large audience and a large reach, and you want to have a backup in case something happens, and say you talk about things that may be borderline with these sites that YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitters, etc., may not like what you say. Keep in mind, you have these other platforms, and they have large numbers of people who've already joined over there. It's also important to have a website too, which I don't have yet, by the way, but I am aware from a marketing perspective. I took marketing and small business management in college, by the way. It helps you out greatly where you can redirect your traffic to these platforms. So they're excellent for if you're already an influencer, or even if you're not, if you're somebody who's a very sociable person and you have a very large base, a very large platform. These other alternate platforms I went over, you can carry your traffic over to. You can it will help you redirect them to these other platforms. So with that being said, it looks like I didn't get a lot of people in the chat today. I see Multi Haystock in the chat section says, "Hey, Dorsey, thanks for this info. I appreciate you joining." So without further ado, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to go over these independent social media platforms, why I think it's important to get off the YouTubes, the Facebooks, or have a backup to transition, especially if you have a large following, a large platform. So I want to thank you guys, and those who will view the video. Feel free after the video uploads in the comment section. By the way, see MVX says, "Oh man, I'm just joining. I'm going to have to rewind." Yeah, I'm fortunate. I'm getting ready to get out of here. I thank you for joining. I wasn't sure how many people I was going to get this early in the morning, by the way, but I appreciate you all joining. And you can follow me. Everything should be in the description box, or check the previous description box of the previous video. If you want to follow me on social media, I am on a lot of the mainstream outlets, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the YouTubes, but I'm also on Mindscom and Rumble, which are two of the web hosting platforms I just went over that are growing exponentially. And also check out Bitshootcom. Bitshoot is excellent, but I really love Rumble. By the way, their layout, their streaming is very good quality. I think Bitshoot is even very good quality if you still have a desktop computer, by the way. So without further ado, I'm your host, John Dorsey, at Dorsey's Resource. Until next time, thank you guys for joining me. Stay blessed. Have a wonderful day. Take care.